Hey everybody. Started a minute early. We'll give everybody time to log on. Make sure you like and share the video, please. That's what I'm doing. Lee, are you sharing?
No way.
Well, how evil of you. Liked and shared. Let me get where I can watch the live as well and look for comments. Please say hello as you are hopping on.
Hello as I'm hopping on.
Wow. I see there's 6 of you watching. Let us know you're there. Sit up a little bit.
Don't be rude.
Is it just me or are you shorter than me by quite a bit today? Are you not wearing your shoes?
It's sitting.
Oh.
So shoes would not be a factor.
Something looks different about you today. Did you do something with your hair?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Hello, Denise.
Hey, Denise.
Stan.
Hello, Stan. How you been, sir?
Long time no see.
Definitely. We'll wait another few seconds and then we'll get this little shindig kicked off. If one can call it a shindig. Party time.
Could be a shin don't.
Ooh. What's the opposite of dig? Fill?
Oh no, Ray.
So it could be a shin fill?
You don't want to do that. Mm-mm. Ouch.
Yeah. Not good for your little kitty behind. Your arm came out of a weird place.
That's what she said. Good to hear, Stan. Mike wanted to be solo today. Him and his Vader.
Well, now you've just ruined the effect.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
Right. As is typical, Leah doesn't want to be on camera tonight.
Oh, I don't care.
But so I needed a co-host. So drafted the Dark Lord of the Sith himself. I mean, come on, guys. It's October, Halloween month. So
Denise is doing well too. Glad
awesome.
to hear it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So do you want me to kick this guy to the curb, and you want to join us?
I'm good with whatever.
All right, here. Well,
I'm not gonna fuss.
Sorry, Darth. Come on in.
Ugh.
Let's put this back.
Right. Put it back. Put it back. I'm here to monitor
Monitor and
the
moderate.
chat so y'all don't get out of hand.
We need a moderator because you people get wild.
Yeah.
Stan, we've been doing really good actually.
Yeah.
So, kind of what this live is going to be about. No real topic per se tonight. We're going to do some.
We typically have a topic and talk about some deep things, but
Tonight's just going to be a little bit of update on us, some things that have been going on, maybe some things we've got planned in the near future. So we'll go ahead and get it kicked off. Thank you for the segue there, Stan. That was awesome. A little bit of admin stuff typically. Start out with, first of all, we have a new phone number. We were having some issues with the other one. People were trying to get through to us and something to do with the phone number. Don't know what happened. We lost a couple of messages along the way and went and got a new phone number. So if you need to get in touch with us, it is area code 423-302-0208. A lot of zeros there.
what was that?
Again, it's 423-302-0208. We have reflected the change on our Facebook page, and we are already getting contacts through it. So just want to make sure that everybody has that same information now. As far as the calendar goes, today is National Boyfriend Day. So if you got a boyfriend, I guess today is their day. If you don't have a boyfriend,
We celebrate you.
we celebrate you. And if you don't have a boyfriend, today's National Techies Day. So if you're a techie, this day is for you.
Well, this was a perfect day for Epicos to host the Green Power Ranger then.
Oh yeah, we went out to lunch today with our son and his girlfriend at Amigos over in Brainerd, and there's a comic book shop right next door, and there was a line out the door down the sidewalk, and we were like, what in the world could be going on today? And I happened to look at their Facebook page, and if anybody remembers the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the kid that played the Green Ranger / White Ranger / whatever, he was there today signing autographs. There were a lot of people there.
There was quite a line out front.
I mean, Leah wanted to go really bad, but I told her no.
I don't ever get to do anything.
The fun part was I usually get made fun of for being the nerd in the group, but I come by it honestly. I mean, gee, I didn't know anybody in that line. Leah knew 2 people.
From childhood. Like when I was 7 or 8.
Some people just don't grow up.
Don't know that really counts, but sure.
Some people just never grow up.
Says the person hugging their Hot Wheels.
This is not a Hot Wheels. This is an original 1980 Darth figure action figure collector's case.
Oh boy. To put your dolls in.
To put my action figures
Your
in.
dolls.
Which, this is empty. There's nothing in it. But I found this at...
Because his dolls are still in their packaging.
I don't have any dolls. So I found this at a little shop over in Hickson. The name of it escapes me right now. But they have collectible toys from early 2000s all the way into the 1970s, they had like Dukes of Hazzard, Rainbow Bright stuff. You would have been down with that. My Little Pony.
No.
You like My Little Pony?
When I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so couple of things. I already got the phone number out of the way. So we this past actually yesterday, this weekend, at work they had a 2-day shutdown for me for some maintenance. So I actually had the week off, and we went. We decided we were going to take a little bit of a road trip. So I did some research trying to find something in the area that was close that we could go visit just as a day trip. We had considered doing Sloss Furnace, and that is still on the books. We're still going to do that at some point. We just chose not to do it this go around. As I was looking through things, I found a place up in McMinnville that I had never heard of before. All I did was search, haunted history near me kind of things. And I came up with this place called, and I want to make sure I say it correctly because it sounds like a TV show from the 80s. It was called Falcon Rest. Not Falcon Crest, but Falcon Rest. It was
just as dramatic.
Just as dramatic. It's in McMinnville, Tennessee, so it's about an hour and a half away.
They spell McMinnville. Is there an E in it?
At the end.
But that's it.
That's it. Excuse me. So we decided to go up there and just take a look around. They had the two things that sold me on it was, first of all, three things. It was historical. We're both into historical things. 2, there was a haunted history behind it. And 3, the thing that was the real selling point to me to take Leah, it's advertised by PBS as Tennessee's Biltmore. And if anybody knows Leah, she loves the Biltmore estate. We've been there, her and I together have been there 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. And I know she's been there before me, so she's in love with the place.
So it's beautiful.
It is. It's
and historical.
Oh, yes. So we decided to take this trip up to McMinnville, check this place out, because it's, and if anybody's interested in checking it out yourself, it's the website is falconrest.com.
I'll put that here.
Yeah, put that up in the chat for everybody. So we go up there with the intention of, spending some time, taking a tour. Place is open 9 to 5 daily.
Central time.
So that would be 10 to 6 Eastern time.
Good job.
Thank you. I messed that up so many times this weekend.
You have no idea.
So we got up there, and the place is huge. When you first pull on the property, you don't even really see the mansion because they have planted hedge works around it so that from the
trees.
Road, well, yeah,
not hedges,
not even shrubberies like these. He said that when the man that his name was George that bought the property back in
1980 something, wasn't it?
Yes. When he bought the property, it you could see it from the road. If you look on the in the chat bar, there should be a picture of the link. Well, if you're depending on the way your page looks at, mine's showing what the house looks like. But if you go there, the first thing you'll see is a picture of the house, and that's what it looked like from the road in the 1800s, because it was built in like 1893 or something like that. Really old property. So he plants these trees around it, which they're evergreens, but they've grown so high and close together that he has trimmed them it's a wall. And you can't see it from the road, and it's not until you actually turn into the property that you see.
You don't even see the house at all. Or the mansion. You see like the outlying buildings, like the barn, and and there's also a tea room.
Yeah, you can go in there and have tea. You have to call them 24 hours in advance if you want the tea, but they serve lunch there. We didn't eat the lunch. We had stopped already before we got there. And like she said, there's the outlying buildings. There's a couple of cottages. The main building itself, which is used to be a gift shop, or is a gift shop, where the tea room and everything is. And then you walk across the way, and there's another wall of shrubs. And when you walk through that, then you get to see the house itself. And The place is huge.
It's like walking, the way it's set up where it's completely hidden from the road, and you don't actually see the house until you walk through the little shrub or the tree entrance. It's almost kind of like walking into the secret garden, because you just would never know that massive building and all of the gardens and the grounds would be behind that until you actually it's really quite an experience just to pass through that little entranceway, because it's like you're walking into a whole different world. Like you're walking back in time to the Victorian age. But it was built. It was built in 1896.
I was 3 years off.
By entrepreneur Clay Faulkner. He told his wife Mary he'd built her the grandest mansion in Tennessee if she would move next to their factory. He had a factory that made gorilla pants. Now, if you're not familiar with gorilla pants, they were supposed to be the strongest pants that even a gorilla couldn't tear them to pieces. But
and evidently, if you came in, they could get them to you in like an hour or less if you ordered a pair.
Yeah.
So you can go on site and say, hey, I want a pair of gorilla pants. Hour later, boom, here's your pants.
So his solid brick, 10,000 square foot mansion had all the modern conveniences when it was built. They had electric lights, indoor plumbing, central heat, and more. So that's why they call it the Biltmore of Tennessee, because when Biltmore was built, they had all those modern conveniences as well. So it was a pretty cool place.
So when we got there, we went in and we took the tour. And I had already done my research about the place. And like I said, it came up in a haunted history search. And there is a tab whenever you go on the website it says ghosts, ? And it talks about all the potential hauntings that go on site. So when we went there, with it being a day tour, the tour maybe lasted an hour, a little over an hour, because the gentleman that led us on the tour, who's also the one that owns the estate, wonderful human being, great guy, great sense of humor, funny. The tour was great.
Great storyteller.
Yeah.
Just very, very personable and very energetic, and just really, really good at what he does. He and his wife, they both run it, and just very down to earth, sweet people.
And we, while we were talking, it was us and another couple that went on the tour. So there was a couple of times that we got him kind of off subject. So we were in there, probably a little bit longer. I think the tour normally lasts about 45 minutes. We may have been in there an hour and 15, not counting gift shop time.
There's the mascot.
She's
gotta make her entrance.
One of. So with that amount of time in there, we couldn't do, any real investigating. They also don't allow investigating on the property at this time. However, they tell you that if you're interested in the ghost aspect of it, let them know, and they'll start telling you more stories on that.
Little extra stories as far as some of their tour guides and themselves, just strange happenings that have happened on the property or in certain areas.
But I won't go through all of the activity. Like I said, you can go on the website and see for yourself. But out of all the things that it mentions, Leah actually did have an experience that was on the website. Do you want me to read the story first, and then you tell what happened, or you tell what happened and then I'll read the story?
Well, I don't know what's on the website, so you'll have to. So I don't know what experience. Okay, so when you walk into the front door, there's this grand staircase, just really, wide, and he said there were 6-inch boards or something, or
yes.
They're
stairs. They're called. Those of you that are into construction and architecture, they were called lady stairs.
Yeah.
I assume they're made in a way that a lady in a Victorian dress can walk up them without any fear of
falling. Or tripping over things.
Right.
So when we went up the stairs, you know, it's wood. Everything's wood. So when you walk up, there's, you know, the regular typical kind of creak of wood. But there was kind of it wasn't really loud and in your face type of noise, but I just passed it off as maybe the stairs creaking, but it was just a high-pitched sound, almost high-pitched like you would hear a flute pitch, if you're familiar with what a flute sounds like. The reason why I know is that's what I played in school, was the flute. But yeah, it was just kind of that high pitch or that high level, and there was a tune to it, but it wasn't like a sound that a radio was playing or anything like that. So I just kind of thought, well, maybe what I hear is just maybe really the stairs creaking or something, and I'm just taking it as something else. Because there was a cadence, like a musical cadence or a musical tune to it, but it wasn't like music playing it, and it wasn't for a long period of time. So that's why it was just really hard to pinpoint. Oh, and I think I even described it a little bit, almost like a boatswain whistle type. I mean, it just was that pitch. But anyway, I kind of got excited as we went through touring some of the rooms, and in one of the rooms there was an actual flute that was on display, a really old flute. So I was like, oh gosh, well maybe it was that. But when we walked back down the stairs, I heard it again, and it just sounded musical. So anyway.
Thank you, Denise. Her name is Dobby.
Yeah. She always likes to make her appearance in our lives.
We've got 3 others that may or may not show up, but Dobby is a diva.
Well, and the others are just sitting here staring at us. Yeah. So
one is right here.
They're
the other
more
one is right here. I don't know where Loki is. He's busy.
Yeah, he's
too busy
in
for
something, I'm sure.
All right, so back to her story. So so she mentioned she hears this music on the staircase that sounds like a flute. And
oh, one more thing. I mean, it did sound musical, but of course it wasn't like an orchestra playing or anything. It was just an isolated sound.
And for
I'm
fun,
done.
And for fun trivia, what do you call a person that plays the flute?
A flautist.
A flautist. She played the flout. All right, so reading this from the website. One Christmas, a young man was decorating a tree in the upstairs hallway. He came to the visitor's center looking very pale and asked, has anyone been in the mansion lately? The answer was no, but why do you ask? He gulped and said, I was whistling. It came upon a midnight clear. I stopped, but the whistling continued for several seconds and started moving down the steps. According to this young man, our ghost not only appears to have been in the Christmas spirit, he has perfect pitch. So what Leah heard was some form of, it's described as either a flute or, like she said, a bosun's whistle.
Is it not a boatswain?
It's pronounced.
Am I saying it wrong?
No, it's pronounced both ways.
Okay, I'm just doing it phonetically, I guess.
No,
the way it's spelled.
It's spelled 2 different ways.
Oh.
So you've got boatswain, B-O-A-T-S-W-A-I-N,
That's
boatswain.
what I'm thinking.
But in older times, when you get into the older, like English Navy, it was called a bosun, which was just kind of a fast way of saying the words together. So boatswain, bosun.
Like ginormous?
Yes.
It's giant and enormous.
Well, no, this is just a shortened version of the word.
Like ginormous?
Ginormous is 2 words together. This
like
is
ginormous.
Whatever. So anyway, boatswain and bosun are the same thing. So the whistle, so she heard that whistle. And I thought that was kind of interesting as we're sitting in the car, because I usually I try to wait until the end of something like this.
You don't wait.
I say try because I want to be able to get everything together. But those of you that have watched our lives in the past, by her own admission, she'll tell you that a lot of times she will forget stuff.
I do.
So in my defense, I have to get this stuff from you quickly.
No.
Especially if we're not recording. And they don't allow pictures or video of the inside of the home. You can take all the pictures you want of the outside and of the gardens, but inside the home they don't allow photography. So I had to get this information from her as soon as possible.
Well, and sometimes it's frustrating because I'm somebody that loves to take a lot of pictures and things like that. but I do like it because it still maintains a mystery for people that want to visit. You're not,
Right.
you know, they do have some interior pictures, I guess, on their website.
Yes, they
I
do.
saw you clicking through. So it just kind of gives you a little snack or a little taste of what you would see. But I do like that there's still some mystery to it, because sometimes a lot of that can get ruined. And the Biltmore's the same way. You can't take pictures inside of there or any video either. But,
Right.
you know, I know people, they don't always do the rules, but they're good people.
Really good people, and I recommend. I mean, I recommend it for anybody to go.
Gosh, yes.
Even if you're not into the paranormal, which again I say we were only in there for about a little over an hour, so wasn't really enough time to take in. Like, you know, even on a walkthrough of a location, we may spend extra time, especially with 10,000 square feet. An hour is not a long enough walkthrough to get a good feel. Because I know she picked up on something in one of the rooms, but we weren't able to, really dig in to find out maybe what was being picked up on.
And he was very nice about, if you want to spend some extra time in any of the rooms, just let me know and we'll kind of hang out a little bit. But there was another couple there, and, I just kind of, I don't know, I guess I personally just kind of shy away from that because,
Shy away from what?
From, like, saying, oh, hey, can we spend some extra time in this
if there's
room?
another group, then
you don't want to hold people up
Right.
or...
And they had ordered lunch, so their lunch was going to be at
that's
the end of the
true, too.
tour, so
That's
that
true.
might be the other reason why.
But, yeah. Now, if it had just been us and him, then, yeah, I would like, oh, let's just kind of look. And what I probably would have done is try to be nonchalant about it and just kind of like walked around the room and looked at the different antiques that were in the room and things that they had displayed. But I couldn't think of a on the down low
And I would have started,
way.
and I would have started wheeling and dealing to see if we could get an investigation in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the house, beautiful house, beautiful gardens. The gardens are huge. Huge. Very well taken care of. I recommend it for anybody that is into historical stuff, is into just, Victorian era architecture, and for a good story. It is a bed and breakfast. There are places that no one stays in the mansion.
In the mansion proper.
But there are rooms on the estate. There are a couple of the old servants' quarters that are like attached to the mansion.
Well, what
that
used
they
to
rent
be
out,
the
but
old kitchen.
Correct. But no one stays in the mansion proper. So they've got the bed and breakfast. They do dinner shows.
Yeah.
And I would really like to go back and see one of those. They do like several different ones. They do
They do like a murder mystery or something.
murder at
don't
the
they?
mansion.
Yeah.
They do a murder mystery story. They do ghosts at the mansion. They do a ghost story. There's another one where he dresses up as a Civil War general, and they do like a Confederate ball kind of like thing. So there's a lot of interesting things to that. So.
And what certified kind of actor or impersonator is he also? That he said he.
Oh, Buffalo Bill Cody.
Yeah.
So he acts. So they've got a Western style thing that they do too. So there's a Tennessee magazine on display in the mansion where he's dressed as Buffalo Bill Cody. So that's pretty cool, and he looks like him. If anybody knows who Buffalo Bill was, but all in all, I mean, really fun trip. Got a little bit of haunting in it as well. And that's the kind of, and I know we mentioned before, we had talked about going to Sloss Furnace, but ended up going to this instead. We would probably end up with the same thing at Sloss, because although Sloss is a self-guided tour, we could spend more time looking at stuff. But again, they don't allow investigations on their property either. So it would just be us walking through, but we do plan on trying to do that at some point in the future. Anything else on Falcon Rest before we move on?
It's just an interesting place if you're sensitive or, for the most part, I didn't get anything that was negative there. It just felt like a lot of residual energy type feeling. And there was one of the bedrooms that we walked into. It was painted blue. I don't remember whose bedroom it was.
Margie Faulkner.
But
Margie was one of the daughters.
It was kind of, I guess, the heavier of the rooms at that time. You know, energy can change and shift and move. But that time and that day that we went, it was the heaviest of all the rooms. Not like a negative heaviness, but like you could feel the energy in there. When we first walked in, before he started, you know, telling about the room and whose room it was, I saw there was a girl that was standing near the fireplace. There was kind of a full-length mirror to the side of the fireplace, and I saw her over there. And there was some energy near the closet that I had my back to, but I asked him a question. Oh, I asked him if there had been any experiences in this particular room, and he never did answer it. So that even
he kind of danced around it.
Yeah, it was just very evasive. He just, I don't even know how, he kind of redirected.
Yeah, he asked if it kind of, how did he put it? But he said, he kind of turned it into, have you read the stories on the website? And I said, I had. And then he went into the story of how his wife had designed the website, and then by the time we got back around, the question had been forgotten.
Thank you, Stan. Thanks for dropping in. It's good to hear from you. God bless you. But yeah, he never did answer the question, so it just kind of, you know, it just intrigued me more. But anyway, and then there was in the backyard, in the gardens, it was an interesting feel back there.
If you like mosquitoes.
No, not talking about mosquitoes, but the energy was just kind of interesting. But a really cool place. And he and his wife, from the moment that they bought it, and they, as part of the tour, you'll see the shape that it was in when it was bought, because I think it had been abandoned for like 15 years or so.
It had been abandoned several different times, because whenever
but before they bought it.
It had been the home. And then whenever the man passed away, it ended up it turned into a hospital, and then it went from, stayed empty, and then somebody else bought it, and I forgot what they did with it, and then it ended up with this gentleman.
Well, they tried to do some work on it, and they're like, there's no way. There's no way we can do all this. So he bought it, and he can show you the before and the afters, but he and his wife restored 95% of that home just themselves, and it's really impressive. They did a phenomenal job, and just all the antique. He said that he sold every, like the current home that they were living in at the time, he sold every piece of furniture in his house, and when he sold all of that, he started buying up all the antiques, so that are in the mansion. But very awesome collection.
And he was able to get some of the stuff that was original to the mansion, too.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
That was cool.
Okay. Moving on.
So, as I said earlier, I'm going to get an opportunity to throw this out there again. I mentioned earlier we've got a new phone number, 423-302-0208. I figure if I say it enough, I won't have to look it up every time at the end of our lives, and I can give the number out.
Like 867-5309?
See, now I'm messed up. 423-302-0208.
867-5309.
So no sooner than we get this number changed, we start getting in calls. We start getting messages.
Which it is that time of year.
I was going to say it is that time of year, but it started a little bit earlier than usual. Because usually about, October 1st, we start getting the phone calls. Now, some of them are legit. We get a few people that like to have fun with us. Mm-hmm. But as soon as we got this number turned on, it was early September, and immediately started getting contacts through the number, through the Facebook page, which, still people are welcome to reach out to us through that. Gotten several calls, messages about people dealing with issues, stuff going on in their homes. Not going to go into those too much because those, anything that we share on is, client privilege, we don't want to share, but having a lot of people dealing with things in their homes, things dealing in their lives. So, it's great to have the opportunity to reach out and help those people. If we can, of course, there are some times where, there's nothing we can do, especially if the people that, whenever they're reaching out for help, if they choose not to take the help, I guess would be the way to put it. Because there are, I'm speaking this out for a reason, because some people, whenever they contact us and they ask for our help, and then we give them resolution or something that needs to be done, they either want to do half of it, they don't want to do all of it, or my favorite is, well, I don't think what I've got in my home is bad. Some of it's good. I'd like to keep the good but get rid of the bad, kind of thing. And it doesn't work that way. It's not. It's if you're dealing with something like that, you're dealing with you think it's just a child spirit or something like that. There is no all or nothing with God. You have to take the advice given. And unfortunately, in the past we would we've do what. I'm not saying that a lot. In the past, we would do our best to try to offer any assistance. But as we've gotten older and a little bit more mature in this, we've come to a point where we have to realize that sometimes there's nothing we can do. And we cannot put ourselves and our lives in the... how am I trying to say this? In danger if someone doesn't want to do what's necessary to be helped. So I just want to kind of throw that out there. Anybody, if you need help and we give you the resolution that what's going to help and it's not something you're willing to accept, then we can't bend over backwards to try to help you. Leah has said this to me a couple times. I was hoping she would chime in with her 2 cents on it because she's better explaining it than I am. But she's not going to.
What do you want me to say?
No, I don't. I mean, I feel like I'm dragging it on, but just if you need the help, and it's one of those things. I don't know. I've said this in lives in the past. What is more important? Having peace of mind in your home or continuing to deal with what it is you're going through. And I feel like this is more important than this, but I'm not everybody else. So we got a call, a local call here in Chattanooga to do a residential investigation. At first I thought it was going to be just a consult because it had been they contacted us through a mutual friend. And then they contacted us through the phone number. And I thought it was just going to be a consult, but it ended up turning into, a full-blown investigation. Not going to give out location where the home was, but it was an older home. And they...
1920s or 30s?
Oh, I think it was older than that.
It had only been in the family since the 1920s or 30s, but
the home was over 100 years old. I couldn't give you square footage on it, but the house just went on and on forever. Lots of rooms, lots of stuff still in the home.
I want to say she said it was around 4,000 or more.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
It was huge.
Looking in the process of trying to sell the home, but had activity going into it.
Recently.
Just recent, yeah. And
since discussion of selling it.
Correct. There had been some activity whenever they started doing some of the renovating and cleaning, because again, it's an older home. But as soon as the house was spoke of being sold, activity began to happen.
Which is interesting in itself because no activity ever that they could report. Now, they mind that they have only been living there for almost 2 years.
Right. The house has been her family for, like she said, multitude of years, and the home actually is going to be. The people that are buying it, it's not staying in the family, or was it?
The neighbor's buying it.
The neighbor's buying it, so it's staying with somebody that's going to appreciate it for what it is, and they're going to get it renovated and redone. So they're going to try to restore the house back to what it used to be. But the house, older house, we had the opportunity to go in. They told us about some of the activity, and it was one of those instances where, usually I have all the information before we go in, and I'm able to take notes on what Leah picks up. Well, we went in as blind together as ever. We're on the way up there, and she's like, "So tell me about it." I'm like, "I don't know anything." She's like, "Well,
I didn't ask you about it."
But you asked me something, and I remember specifically telling you, I'm like, "I know nothing about it." I can't remember what it was, but you asked me, and I'm like, I don't have any of the information.
I wouldn't have asked you about the house. I don't remember what I was asking you, but that you had told me that they were on the way going to tell you about some things, and I think I may have asked, did they tell you anything? So when I did my walkthrough, if I mentioned something, he'll know if it coincides or not. Right. But even you said that.
So like I said, it had intended to be a consultation, and then it ended up being, we're going to go check this place out that night. So I didn't have the usual amount of time that I would to be able to get my information together. I wasn't able to do any research. The only thing I had was the address and some Zillow information about when the house was built, such and such. So we get there, and they take us through on a walkthrough. Now, we did not videotape the walkthrough, which I kick myself for now, because...
So if you're an investigator...
Yeah.
Video from the moment you walk on property till you leave property, because you never know what's going to happen.
Because we got there, we set up, we got everything unloaded, and then she was like, "Well, do you want us to walk you through the house?" And we're like, "Okay." And right off the bat, we walk in, and there is a hallway. I don't know what you'd call it. It's almost like a vestibule, a lobby. I mean, it was big. But right there, off from that, was a door that was open that went downstairs into the basement. We weren't there 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and Leah's standing in front of that door, and...
Well, I think I mentioned, I was like, "What's down there?" or "What is that?" or something. I don't remember how it came about. But anyway, the owner said, oh, this is the way down to the basement. And so she opened up the door. Well, when she opened up the door, I just got that feeling of, I don't know about this, but it's interesting. We'll check it out later. So I just walked up to the entrance of the basement. And of course there's stairs that go straight down, and then it kind of turns and then goes, the stairs go out of view. But, and it wasn't really that many stairs. It was maybe 8 or so.
Not even, barely 10.
Okay.
And they were steep too. Like when you got down to the bottom, it was almost like walking on this.
Yeah.
So you had to be careful.
It's like a 45. But anyway, so I don't know. I just walked up to the entrance of the basement because I knew we weren't going down yet. But I just stood there just to kind of get a feel or a sense of the area down below. Well, I walked up to where, because the door opens out, so I walked up to where I'm flush with the door, and I just kept getting like that, like you walk into a cobweb, like you get those little sensations of, something.
And I want to interject here. I felt the same sensation throughout the house all night, and never found any cobwebs.
Well, there was
not like where we were at. Like if I felt something do this to me, of course the first thing I do is I'm looking for spider webs. Well, never found them.
So while I was standing there, I was mentioning, I was like, "Oh, Well, I kind of went like this because I thought I was touching a spider web, and I'm not a spider person. So I kind of did like this, and so Mike got his flashlight, and was, shining to see if there were any spider webs there that I kind of accidentally rubbed my arm in, and there was nothing there. Well, we talked about, I was still standing there just kind of looking down the stairs, and I just said, well, we'll check it out. We'll go down there and check it out later. And the moment I said, I believe that's what I said, and the moment I said that, I got this really violent, like it grabbed my arm and was trying to jerk me down the stairs. It was so forceful.
She visibly went forward.
Yeah, I went like and it was so forceful that the owner come up behind me and grabbed me by my shoulders. She was behind me. Grabbed me by my shoulders and pulled me back so I wouldn't go down the stairs. So I was like, okay, I don't need to go down there at all.
Right. Which she didn't. And later on in the investigation, I actually went down there, videotaped some while we were going on down there, and it was just like as typical with that type of house. It had a dirt basement. There was a crawl space portion of it, which we didn't get into because not going to get in and crawl under my belly on that type of thing, but walked around and saw several spiders, which is another good reason why Leah didn't go down. But
do you want to say hi so you can go do whatever you need to do?
Yeah, Logan just came in, so he needs to walk by the camera so he can head to his. Everybody say hi to Logan. So anyway, we went down to the basement. Didn't pick up anything.
So that was within less than 10 minutes that we were there.
Right.
So
but it was later.
That quick.
It was later in the night that I got to go down there and check it out, and didn't find anything out of the ordinary while we were down there, other than the spiders. But went from there, and as they're doing the walkthrough of the home, we go to this room that I guess it may have been a den or something at one point. The house was set up for they'd had an estate sale recently, so there's stuff all over the place set up in a, kind of like a store type manner, like a yard sale or something. But everything's still organized. Well, as we go into this room, off to the left, we see a bookcase. And she's like, the owner says, I'm going to take you to, and they called it several different things. They called it the secret room, the magic room. But we go, and there's this bookcase, and this to me was the coolest thing. She pulls this bookcase back, and it's a door that goes into this room where the previous owner had been very much into I guess you say spiritualism, mysticism, magic, things of that nature.
All types of.
So there was a very big conglomerate of different belief systems mixed into this room. There was aspects of Hinduism, Buddhism, Unitarian Universalist, all sorts of different things. Asian, Egyptian, that comes into play here momentarily. So we go into that room and we're walking around checking things out. Now, this was the first room that we got some evidence in. Now, earlier today, I posted 3 videos on our YouTube page, and if you haven't had the opportunity to go watch those, if you're catching this on replay, pause this video right now and go watch the first video that was released. It's called, what was it? Growling and Hiss in the Magic Room. So watch that video and then come back. But since you're watching live, if you haven't watched it already, make sure you go check it out. There's a point in there while Leah's talking where on the audio of our video, we pick up a very distinctive hiss and a growl, and you have to listen for it because it's under Leah's speech. While Leah's talking, you can hear something underneath her tone.
Do you remember what I was saying?
You were talking about how it wasn't as heavy in that room.
I'm surprised it doesn't feel as heavy in here.
Right. So, really cool piece of evidence that we've got there. So we've got it on the YouTube channel right now for everybody to kind of peruse. On the tube. feel free to comment if there's anything else that you pick up or you see in that clip. It's only like a 3-minute clip that we posted to keep it brief so you can actually focus on the evidence part. But while we were in that room, not knowing at the time we had picked up evidence, Leah also was having an experience.
That sounds so weird.
Experience.
Well, not when we were in the room. So it was before we were in the room. I kind of, we were in the room beside it, and as I was looking towards the magic room, I was on this side of the bookcase and just looking into that room. It looked like your very stereotypical, what you would see in the movies, Egyptian woman, you know, the really heavy eye makeup and you know, the straight black hair and the outfit, back into the room and just kind of like making an eye contact with me and just kind of beckoning me to come into the room. And then as we went into the room, she went around the corner into another room, and then she was gone.
Didn't you say that she said, or you heard something along the lines of "come here"? Or
yeah, where I said she was beckoning me to come in.
And then when we got into the room, I think you said she either went away or
she went away. Like in that next room, that room that was right beside that she went into the entrance of, she was gone.
So when we went into the next room, right off to the side, we did some checking around, and we didn't like this. Like the sensation had gone.
Yeah.
So when we went back into the other,
it was kind of in that where the doorway is. Like it was in the magic room, but in the doorway. It didn't go past, even though I saw her walk through, but like it was just right there near that doorway was her energy.
Right. So at this point, so we go into the magic room, we go into this other room off to the side. Well, from that point, we can't go any further, so we've got to backtrack back through, and we go into what used to be, or what is, the kitchen area. And the kitchen area is right now being renovated. And as we go in, right off to the right-hand side of the kitchen is kind of a room that, to me, it seemed like what you would envision in a modern home. When you walk into a kitchen, you've got that little room off to the side where utility room. There might be a washer or dryer there. That's what this room was a room like that. So we walk off into that room. Our neighbor next door is really revving their car up.
So if you really hear that, sorry, it's not. I don't know what in the world they're doing out there.
Maybe they're starting the Talladega 500 out there and I just don't realize it. But anyway, so we walk into this room, and Leah has another experience.
Which room is this?
The utility room off of the kitchen.
Okay, so when we walked into the actual kitchen part, which was like the original kitchen, wasn't it?
Yes.
I got that sensation again of like I'm walking in cobwebs, and there was also something tugging on the bottom of my pants, like pulling down my pants leg. And then we walked into the utility room area, or I walked on in there, and it was, the best way I could describe it is just like an older man that was in there, and he was just kind of tinkering around or whatever. And I was able to fully describe what he looked like. I don't remember all the details, but he has it documented.
Blue button down shirt,
like a Dickies,
short sleeves.
I remember the army issue glasses.
And I don't know why you made a point to discuss that they were real buttons, not the snap down kind.
Oh, okay.
The army issue style glasses, Dickies work pants, or not specifically Dickies, but work pants. Buzz top haircut, kind of like the hind top with the buzz top. And he was just in there moving about. You said that he kind of was drawn over a little bit.
Yeah, I was.
And whenever and again, this is on the we'll share more of this investigation videos down the road. We don't have this clip shared yet, but she says that he's drawn over, and you said his hand was up like this. You didn't know if he was carrying something like that, but you said
like something was in his.
But there was nothing wrong with his arm.
No, it was just the way he held it was bent at the elbow and just, you know, perpendicular to the rest of his body, as opposed to his arms straight and parallel, you know, to his side. It was just that one arm. His right arm, I think. But yeah, just describing what I noticed.
So she said he was just back in there,
just tinkering around.
And we determined that it was residual.
Yeah.
Because it didn't interact. It was just that loop.
Yeah.
I will fast forward to the end of the investigation. At that point, after she had made the description to the owner, she says, "I've got some pictures I want you to see." And she brought up a picture of, I believe it was her grandfather, wasn't it?
Or, I don't remember.
It was either grandfather or great-grandfather. Held up a picture, and she said, "Does this picture look familiar?" And lo and behold, it's the gentleman that Leah saw in the utility room. So that was cool. Anytime we get a confirmation like that, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So from there, we did the downstairs. I'm trying to remember. So there was another room that we went into that had a lot of stuff in it. Again, like I said, they'd been having an estate sale, and there was a broken down bedroom suit.
When he says broken down, it was
not assembled.
Yeah. It wasn't broke down.
An unassembled bedroom.
There we go.
And part of this bedroom was the headboard.
There's actually several bedroom suits that were in there.
But the one in particular had a headboard that was a mirror. And as soon as we walk in, Leah says, "I don't like that mirror." So immediately I walk over, camera in hand, and I break out my EMF detector, and I am sweeping the mirror. So, like earlier, we posted 3 videos on our YouTube channel today. The second video, and this one is entitled, I believe it's Mirror Growl or Growl in the Mirror. I can't remember what I named it. But when she says, "I don't like that mirror," and I walk over to the mirror with my camera, I'm taking the EMF detector and I'm sweeping it all over the mirror. EMF detector never went off. It never even went above a 0. We didn't see anything that happened, so we moved on. But in the video, right at about the exact moment that I touch the EMF detector to the mirror, you hear a growl. Very kind of a deep growl, almost similar to the growl that we heard in the magic room. Very similar in tone and pitch. And like I said, we didn't catch it at the time, so we continued on. Well, as we leave the room, you see me, because I'm the camera operator doing my Blair Witch style shooting, according to Leah. But I walk out, and you see me kind of do this number with the camera because I've lost Leah.
No, I'm there.
Because she was in front of me, and then I'm like, "What the crap?" And I turn, and she has darted to the right, back towards like the living area, which was close to where the magic room was. And I say, "Oh, back to this room again?" And Leah says, "Well, I just heard something say, 'hey.'" So on the same video that we got the growling mirror headboard, as I'm walking out and I turn the camera, and I've got the timestamp listed on the video on YouTube. As I'm walking out, you hear very lightly, because it's quiet, a voice say, "hey." And then then I say, "Are we going back to this room again?" And Leah says, "Yeah, I just heard something say, 'hey.'" So whatever it was, I didn't hear it. She did, and the camera caught it. So that was that. So far,
Pretty cool.
that video is my favorite piece of evidence from this investigation. I do want to add this disclaimer. I probably should have at the beginning. Typically, with residential investigations, we don't share evidence. We've got explicit permission from the homeowner to
post those videos.
Again, as long as we're not sharing the location of the home.
Yeah.
So all that's cool. But yeah, we caught the voice saying, hey. So, but like I said, we didn't hear it. Leah goes back over there, and you said you started feeling something, maybe not from the magic room, but down towards, it was like in the doorway. Who is this? This is Dobby again.
She's getting chased.
So you were picking up something coming from that direction.
It's actually from the bookcase area, the door. That's the bookcase. So
and there were other bookcases in that area.
Oh yeah,
too.
there was bookcases along the wall, and then there was this wall that had the door on it. So along this wall, I mean, it's super heavy, just very negative feeling, just like ugh type feeling to it. Right before the bookcase, so I said, "There's got to be something right here," and I don't know if it's a book or you know what, but there's something that's been here or right here that it's just this really negative, heavy feeling. So the owner comes back there. Am I saying this? Am I saying this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the owner comes back there and she says, well, this is the bookcase that we had, like all of, like the gentleman that was living there before, of course, he's a collector of all things, you know, nothing's off the table. So he had a lot of his, what book was it?
Autobiography of a Yogi.
No, the other that she said was over there.
Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley, and a bunch of those types of books and everything that were in that bookcase over there. She goes, that's where they kept them. But they, of course, they had removed all that stuff and put them in boxes and labeled them by, I guess, genre. Yeah, she goes, that's where those books were kept, were right there. So I go, well, that could explain it, very much so.
So we decided at this point that we were going to break out a new piece of equipment that we've just recently purchased. And I give Leah credit for this idea. We actually got it from another group that we've seen on YouTube. And so YouTubes. So we broke out a baby monitor. A video wireless baby monitor. So what we did was we set up the camera on the magic room door case. I guess it would technically be a door case. It's a door and a bookcase, so it's a door case. We set up the camera facing that door, and then it comes with a screen that there's no Wi-Fi connectivity required to it. It connects directly to the camera. And with this, we're able to watch the room even if we're not there. And we can also talk. So if we want, and at the time we'd also put a audio recorder, to try to listen for EVPs. And so we left that by the room, and then we set up the camera, and then we continued on with our walkthrough and our investigation. So if we wanted to, we can press and talk into it. Our voices can come across the camera, and we could potentially do an EVP session without us even being present in the room. Correct.
Because things sometimes don't respond if you're actually in the room. So this just gives another way of being able to monitor and conduct an EVP session without actually physically being in the room, which is wonderful. Plus, you have the added benefit of video that has night vision, so you can also watch things too.
And if it's a room that you know you're having activity in, you can even set up the screen and then put a camera at the screen and you can record.
Yeah.
So really cool idea. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Give a shout out to the Foreman brothers. Paranormal Nightmare. We've seen them do it several times on their channel, so it's something we decided to give a try, and seems to work really, really well. However, a little caveat: I tested everything before we went. Everything worked fine. Set up the camera, did the voice stuff, set up the calibration. Everything was great. When we got on site, however, camera worked fine. Visual, video, everything was great. Audio, however,
weird.
Something was amiss.
Weird.
Because whenever we try to listen to the audio through the camera, it was like staticky.
And weird, it would transform people's voices to be weird, like very child and baby. It was weird.
So whenever we would listen through it, we would hear, like, I remember it was like a knocking noise even.
Yeah.
Like there was like a,
yeah,
like something. Yeah. But I'm over there like we went down to the camera and I'm standing there next to the camera. There's nothing making the noise. There's nothing near it. And then when I start trying to test it and I'm like, hello, I mean, I've got, a semi, I don't have like the deepest voice in the world, but I've got, a male voice. And when I start talking through this thing, I sounded like a woman at one point. I sounded like a child. And it wasn't like normal. It was distorted.
Yeah. It was weird.
And I've played with the equipment since then, and everything works fine. So I don't know, right hand, not going to swear to anything, but anytime we have...
It's interesting.
Equipment go haywire like that, it is interesting.
And plus weren't we having some battery drain or something also that was messing with?
Yeah, my camera kept going dead, which I was putting brand new, batteries in it and having to constantly swap them out.
So that's what kind of, I guess, prompted our curiosity, was because we were having those issues first and then trying out this equipment, this monitor, and it was being funky and weird too. So it was just, coincidence for two pieces of equipment, maybe, or maybe not. So just interesting.
And I would understood if it was one of those things where the batteries were going dead, but the output screen had been on the charger all day, had a full battery power to it, and the camera was plugged in. So it's not where, the batteries or something were going dead in it and it was affecting the transmission. Something else was affecting the transmission. Even to the point where I'm standing as close as I am to Leah, to the camera, talking through this thing, and it's still distorting. So, no clue. So we had the opportunity to go upstairs after that. And there is there's
also an experience in the owner's bedroom.
Oh yeah, share that.
So I don't know if it was related to why I shouldn't go in the basement or whatever, but there was a spot, her bedroom was right over where some of the basement is. But there was a spot where I actually couldn't stand on it very long because I kept getting the sensation that whatever was underneath would like rip and pull me through, which kind of, being jerked almost down the stairs is now interesting that I'm thinking of it. But I felt like deep under there was dirt. And then deep under that dirt, there was like something or someone buried there. Like it was a very negative feeling. And I just felt like if I stood in that one place, like it would just reach up and just pull me through the flooring. And then I asked her, in that part of the basement where I was standing was dirt.
Yeah, that was the crawl space area where we couldn't get to.
So it was interesting. Just another point of interest.
Forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. Mm-hmm. So after that, we had gone upstairs, and upstairs there, this house is big enough that her daughter lives upstairs, but she has her own apartment area, which has its own little kitchenette, everything up there. And we go upstairs and we go through these different rooms, and the first room that we went in had a lot of clothes out from where they had been doing the estate sale, and right in front of what would have been the front side of the house, there is, I guess, would you call it a bay window?
No,
it was just three windows together.
Yeah, it didn't
jut
out.
Yeah, it wasn't. But it was just three, very large,
huge picture
windows. And Leah, we walk in, and Leah turns around with her famous, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, but
it didn't make any sense to me. So when you first walk up the stairs, I mean, it is super heavy. Just the atmosphere is just really dense and heavy.
And the homeowners report this as well.
Yeah. But the room that we walked into, it was just, have you ever just walked into a room that's crowded with people? I mean, it had that feeling like there was a lot of people in that room. And, but it felt like everybody was there for a wake. If you've ever walked into a crowded room at the funeral home, where family and friends are just kind of, visiting with each other and things like that, it just had that feel to it. And then right in front of the windows, I saw, and it was very old, like a casket laid out in front of just like somebody would be laid out in their home. But it was wood, like an old wood box, back in the old times. And this person that was in there was wrapped in like a linen type cloth, just completely wrapped. And it felt like they had passed from like some kind of influenza, or, it was just like some kind of sickness like that.
Which, now that I think about it, the house was in existence during the Spanish influenza epidemic, which
who knows?
We weren't able to corroborate any of it.
What was catching me off guard, though, was in my mind, I'm thinking, typically if it's awake, I mean, it would be held downstairs.
Not on the second floor.
Right, and this was on the second floor, so that was just kind of messing me up. That's why I turned around and I said, okay, so I'm just going to say this. But that homeowner did bring out a good point of that if it was something like influenza, or even, she had even mentioned TB, that of course typically they would lay them out, what was now closed in, it used to be actually a porch. That you would of course have them near fresh air or in a screened in area or something like that. But this person had already passed. So if they were already living up there perhaps, then they passed, maybe they just had the wake up there. I don't know. But anyway, that was what I was picking up on. But also something very, very weird is the moment you walk up the stairs, like that room is busy. Like you can see the stairway from that room. But the moment you get to the top of the stairs, it's like everybody that's in that room just stops what they're doing and they all turn to face the staircase and whoever is standing there. And that, if you've ever walked into a room and everyone stops and all eyes are on you, I mean, it's that really awkward, creepy, weird feeling. Like they completely stop everything they're doing and then all collectively turn at once to stare at you.
Imagine the old Westerns whenever they walked into the saloon and everybody stops, the music stops, and everybody turns and looks at the guy.
Yeah, something like that.
Which,
so weird.
The homeowner also reported that feeling as well, that they had that sensation going up into this room. Actually,
the daughter.
As soon as you went upstairs, they would get that sensation. So from that room, we walked into another room that was catty corner. And I walk into the room first because I am the spider web catcher. And I'm also,
good thing though,
I always go into the room first anyway.
There were not any spider webs that he ran into.
But I'm the
no.
I'm the block.
If something's gonna get you, it's gonna get him first.
Right. So I'm the shield. So I walk in, and where this room is, there's this door, and to the left is a hallway. that at the end of it was a bathroom under renovation. As I walk into the room, Leah comes in behind me. And as she comes in behind me...
He wasn't going fast enough.
Yeah, she was almost in my back pocket trying to get into the room, which I'm going into the room slowly because there's no lights and I want to make sure there's no trip hazard or something in front of me. And all of a sudden, here's Leah right up behind me.
Well, I wasn't expecting it because when I went to go cross a hallway to go into this room that he went into, there was something coming at me. So, you know, you just want to get out of Dodge.
So tell him what was coming at you.
A man.
Was he a big man? Was he a small man?
He was a big man.
So, as she comes in, there is evidently a gentleman coming down the hall. Now, you said that he came down kind of aggressively.
Mm-hmm. And the daughter had even says she experienced the same thing. Like she can feel something there.
So I ran a couple of tests. I had Leah come into the hall. While I'm staying in the room that I'd walked into, she's across the hall from me, standing in this open area, which is right where the steps come up. I have her try to I step out first. I get her where she can see the hall without this thing rushing her. I step out, nothing happens. We had the homeowner step out, and you said that it appeared, but it didn't come.
It backed off.
It wasn't like aggressive. It was like, oh. And the best that we can come up with that is that whatever it was knew her because she's the homeowner. We then tried where Leah steps into the hall long enough for this thing to start coming at her, and then I step out to see what happens. And you said whenever I came out, the thing just completely dematerialized or just went away. So, wasn't sure what that was. Fast forward again to the end of the investigation. We're talking to the homeowner. Whenever she brought out mentioned earlier, she brought out pictures. She brings out a picture of an uncle, and this uncle turned out to be who Leah had seen in the hallway. And she said that he had been I can't remember, she said he'd just been was he a mean man or he was just kind of aggressive? I don't know. And the gait of the way he was walking and everything was familiar. And it would make sense that, you know, he's coming after her because he's like, you know, kind of that aspect of what are you doing in my house kind of thing. And then whenever he saw who would have been his niece, it's like, oh, it's you live here kind of thing. So this is where our third video of evidence comes in. As we're standing there talking about this, I turn and start walking down the hallway. And I can't remember exactly what I said because I was making a statement and then I said but, and I stopped, like I didn't finish the thought. And right after I say that, we picked up 3 really odd noises. I wouldn't call them like a growl. It was more like a grunt. How was it? You said you even made the statement it sounded kind of like a horse or something, but it's just 3 real quick noises as I'm walking down the hall. Can't explain it. Don't know what it sounded like. Where we were at, there was no electricity, nothing turned on in this section. I compared it to outside noises because there's several places in our evidence or in our video where you can hear traffic going going down the road, or we're standing near a door or a window that's open and you can hear crickets and whatnot outside. It didn't match up with anything in the area, so not really sure what we picked up there, but it was very interesting piece of audio. So again, we shared that, and that was our third video of evidence that we put on YouTube earlier today. So make sure you go check that out and tell us what you think. But all in all, I mean, really interesting investigation. We spent time afterwards. Like I said, we got to see pictures, which were able to corroborate what Leah had experienced. They talked about some other things that we actually didn't witness while we were there. One of the big reports that they said in the home was you'll be downstairs and you'll hear what sounds like someone moving furniture upstairs, or not even so much moving furniture, it's more like they're dropping furniture and dragging it across the floor. And we never experienced that while we were there. But, you know, again, that's something that the homeowner experienced. I do still have some audio. I mentioned earlier, whenever we did we set up the baby monitor outside the magic room, I did put an audio recorder out there. There's about an hour's left worth of audio that I have to listen to see if we picked up anything there. Then after that, all the evidence has been reviewed, but we were able to get all the video evidence. And that's why we shared the 3 videos, and then wanted to spend time on this live talking about what we had experienced there. We have been told we're allowed to come back, but the house is up for sale. So if the house goes before we have the opportunity to go, we won't be able to return. But all in all, we were able to give the homeowner, you know, some evidence of what's going on, and we've shared the evidence with them last night, and then they gave us permission today to share what we've got. And then, of course, you know, from here it's deciding what's going to be done, if anything. We didn't really seem to pick up anything that was malevolent. It just seemed everything was more residual. What would you think? I mean, I think everything we dealt with was more residual than anything, except for the noises, which don't have an explanation for.
I mean, was there a question?
Yes, there was.
What?
What would you say is there? Is there anything, or do you think it's just residual
Over
energy?
where I talked about.
Over where you talked about?
Yeah, earlier in this video.
Okay. So that's basically it. So whenever you have the opportunity, if you haven't already, go to our YouTube channel, check it out. Feel like we've made a good connection with the homeowner, which is always cool. It's always cool to meet people like that. So just remember, if anybody has any issues or anything going on in their home, please reach out to us. Reach out to us through Facebook. Reach out to us through email, paranormalhelpministry@outlook.com. New telephone number, and I can't say it enough, 423-302-0208. 24 hours to watch this video on Facebook, and then it will get archived to the YouTube channel.
Yep.
So I guess Leah is out. So
no, I gotta do things.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you guys. I know we went over our hour limit by just a little bit, but we'll see you next month, November, 1st of November. And I don't know if it will be November 1st, but it'll be sometime in that first weekend in November. We'll see you then. Have a happy Halloween. Bye, y'all.